You were asking me about my schedule too, and it's very random. I wish I had a schedule, but I don't.
What does a typical day look like?
Well, actually, lately, unfortunately, for the last 2 years, I've been dealing with long COVID, or I think it's long COVID, because it was so early, I never was able to get tested. But so it's been a lot of ups and downs, and my days have gotten pretty messed up. Like they're just not normal days anymore. But before, I would usually go out and do something outside, like a hike or a ski or bike or whatever, and then come back home and work, or work in my studio and then go out and do something in the afternoon, active. Um, and be around the house full of kids and all that kind of stuff. But now I have one kid left at home, a senior in high school, and we have an exchange student this year. So they don't require as much attention, but there's still a lot of activity in the house. Sometimes they come home with their friends for lunch, and it's fun. So yeah, I guess, does that sort of sum up a day? And I'm always doing laundry in the middle of it, of everything else.
Do you do laundry just because it has to be done, or are you like me and you're like, oh, I should write this chapter, but that laundry desperately needs, I'm going to do as many loads of laundry as I possibly can to push off the writing of that chapter?
Yes, I'm doing some of that as well. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. And also, one of my guilty pleasures is when I fold the laundry, I'll watch videos on YouTube and stuff. Or like catch up on the late night comedy. So then, yeah, so doing laundry is kind of fun for me. It's not really a chore.
I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched a late night television program, but YouTube monologues, pretty much a daily occurrence.
Yeah. Usually I'll watch the monologues now. Yeah. I was a little more obsessed with what was going on in politics and everything over a year ago. So I was definitely just like every night watching all of them that I could, to try to have a sense of humor.
Oh, is something interesting happening in politics? I must have missed it. My gift to myself here in 2022. I still enjoy the monologues, but I have a rule that, other than Seth Meyers, because I love my closer look, other than the monologues, if my rule is that the show consists, the budget is a person at a desk talking about politics or anything else, that's a skip. I can't have that in my life. It doesn't matter which political show it is. If the budget is the desk, then they're gonna say the most exciting, most aggravating, most get me worked up thing that they possibly can, because that's what they have to offer. There's no CGI Cylons on the show. There's nothing. There's not going to be a gunfight or a car chase later. It's just going to be somebody saying, well, what if this indicates this or this indicates this? And I've sat through enough conspiracy theory videos, because I'm a flying saucer aficionado, that I recognize that, okay, we're having fun and we're spinning out, but I'm not being informed right now. This is not news. This is journalism. So any of that gets cut out.
Well, I definitely take the comedy news with a grain of salt, but it makes me laugh, and just laughing, is more fun than watching the other news. So I read the more serious news, and then I just only watch comedy news. Yeah, so have you seen a flying saucer, and have you seen a ghost? I'm curious.
The esteemed audience will forgive me, because I'm here every week, and they will have heard I have not seen a flying saucer that I know of. A couple of suspicious lights in the sky that could be yes, could be no. But automatically, if I saw it, I'd be suspicious, because I know how much I want to see it. So it's got to be very specifically, could not have another explanation for me to believe I'd actually seen one. My grandmother did see one. And I believed her, and I have believed her ever since I was a little boy. Plus, there's enough smoke that if there's not some fire, I'd be tremendously disappointed. And the other nice thing about people trying to disprove an unknown is you can't do it. You can't definitively prove to me that there are no flying saucers. And if it should eventually, if somebody finds the way that they can prove that, well, that's fine. I had fun. It was a nice believing that was an option. But I think with the Pentagon coming right out and saying now that they are studying recovered flying saucer craft, I don't know why this is still a debate. I wish the stigma would go away so we could get people smarter than the YouTube conspiracy theorists in there having serious conversations about these. And that's happening some, but not as fast as I would like. When the Blink 182 frontman, I can't think of his name at the moment, when that's who's out there talking flying saucers, we could do better. What's Dr. Fauci doing when he moves on from the pandemic? Let's get him on this flying saucer program. Let's hear his thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? I definitely believe there's alien life out there, and I like to think about that and what it might look like and everything. But whether they've been here, who knows?
It's entirely possible that this will be the only way in which I might compare myself to Arthur Conan Doyle. But it's entirely possible that this is just a modern version of his fairy photos that he was obsessed with. And so we can all say, well, that was a relatively intelligent fellow. Shame about the fairy photos. And maybe someday that'll be a note for me. Relatively intelligent fellow. Shame about his love of flying saucers. But I don't think so. I think there's enough presidents have come right out and said, yes, I've seen one, or yes, we have information about that. There's something. I don't know what it is. Just be that it's a CIA program to experiment with, I don't know, with mass media, or I don't know. I'm not smart enough to guess what the purpose might be. But there is a wonderful documentary that everybody should see that I can't think of about Richard Doty, and it's about CIA operatives actively trying to feed UFO information to popular ufologists. Like Molten How. The documentary is on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of what it is. But it's just do a search, esteemed audience, for Richard Doty, and that will make you extremely uneasy going forward just about what programs the government might be up to, because we can do that stuff. We know that they're doing thought experiments. Flying saucers, maybe yes, maybe no. The CIA definitely doing thought experiments.
I'm writing that down so I don't forget. My friend who is Darby in the book, Diane, she was really obsessed with Oumuamua. You know, the big Oumuamua, the big like elongated asteroid that came in to our orbit and then left. She was graphing the orbit and everything of Oumuamua, and then there was like some satellite moon or something that she just was wondering what, it didn't really make sense to her how it could have come in and done what it did.
So she thought it was under some type of intelligent control, possibly?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. The name of the documentary, I looked it up because it was going to bother me if I didn't. It's Mirage Men. So, esteemed audience, if you're listening and you're curious, Mirage Men is well worth your time. And it's on Netflix as of this recording. Hopefully, when you're listening to us, it will still be there. If not, do a search on one of the streaming services. You'll be able to find it.
Okay. I'm going to look that up.
As far as like flying saucer documentaries, those are a dime a dozen. Plenty of those out there, or just go to YouTube. Just do a YouTube search for UFO videos and get ready. Grab yourself a bag of popcorn. You're going to be there for a while. There are so many videos of flying saucers on YouTube that they have to put them in batches for months of the year of when all these different flying saucer videos from around the world came in. And past a certain point, it's hard to believe all these people are trying to get attention and money because there's just so many of them. You're buried toward the bottom of the list.
I did just remember something that happened here a few years ago. And I was just driving on the highway and I looked up, it was in the morning at some point, and it was just a blue sky. And I looked up and it looked like a huge asteroid breaking through. I mean, just like a giant ball of light in the sky, which I assumed was an asteroid. And then I went and looked all over the place to see if I could find anything about anybody else seeing it. And I never did. And I saw it, and it was what looked like a very large traveling light. I forgot about that. And I just assumed it was an asteroid. I didn't think about it being a UFO, but who knows? And then another.
Grab the phone camera and get yourself.
I didn't have my phone. I was driving, so I just saw it and I just couldn't believe it. I thought that had to have done some damage somewhere, and there was nothing about it.